What up, everybody? Welcome back to B Grade Weekly. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, so your subscription would definitely mean a lot to me. Now, obviously, you see, I got my pictures up, so I'm hoping this looks a little bit better, overall for the video. But as you can tell by the title of this video, I'm here to go in depth about the Russell Westbrook trade to the Lakers. Now, I'm going to be kind of mostly focusing on the Lakers side of things, just because that's the more interesting part of it. But regardless, let's get into it. So, pros and cons of Russell Westbrook being on the team. The first positive is that Westbrook is just plays 100%. I mean, he goes 100% every single possession while he's on the court. There is never a possession where that man wants to take off. So, and I think that'll just rub off on the rest of the team. That kind of energy will just help inspire that Lakers team. And so I think during the regular season, you're going to see a lot of Russell Westbrook involved basketball, just because I think he'll be running the show for the most part. Obviously, as LeBron gets older, and this is another one of those pros for Westbrook, is that as LeBron gets older, and obviously he's already old, but even as he still ages, Russ can really just handle the majority of the load of the offense. He can initiate it. He averaged like 12 assists over in Washington. There's no reason to think that he couldn't do something almost exactly similar. I absolutely believe Russ could still average 8 or 9 assists. I think you'll see a lot of LeBron resting this season. Not resting, but I don't think he'll be going as hard as he normally does, especially not this past season, especially with AD being out because he was injured. LeBron had to take on majority of the load. Now you won't have that. Russ will play 82 games unless his legs are broken. I think this also rubs off on Anthony Davis very well, because Anthony Davis, in my opinion, and I think of a lot of basketball players' opinions, he's never been a guy with the mentality of, I'm going to go get buckets. Now he does that every now and then, or, he doesn't ever have the mentality of he wants to be the best player on the court, even though he has the talent to do so. Again, you see games when he does that because he'll have, 40 or 50-point games. I don't know if he's ever had a 50-point game, but let's just assume he has. I think he did a couple of years ago back when he was still in New Orleans. But he can do that. He has that kind of capability and talent, but he doesn't he doesn't impose his will on the game as much as he really should. And I think with Russ, you'll see a lot of Russ just poking at him, being like, man, you got to dominate because you can. Because imagine Russell Westbrook being 6'10", 6'11". Man, the league would have to be on standby because Russ would wreck the league at that point. Russ also can create his own shot, and that's just invaluable no matter what team you're on or, anywhere. Especially LeBron-led not Lakers teams, but just LeBron-led teams in general. Sometimes if LeBron goes out, you see his team will sometimes struggle to either, get the offense flowing or just to create shots. That's not a problem for Russell Westbrook. Russ will go get his shot plus all the shots that he shouldn't be taking. He can get whatever he wants, and I think that's just a positive for this Lakers team. Rebounding and assists, again, Russ averaged a triple-double again. That's a little underrated. I feel like we're kind of underrating him because we kind of say that he stat pads, but the fact that you can even average a triple-double multiple seasons, that takes a lot of effort. So I think he's kind of underrated for that. But rebounding and assists, even though it's been said that he steals rebounds from his teammates, he can average 7 or 8 rebounds with other bigs just off energy and just killer will alone. And again, the assisting, he's going to average probably 8 assists. I don't think he's going to average a triple-double, but he's gonna do his thing, and nobody's gonna be able to stop him. Now let's get over to the negatives. Shooting and spacing. I don't think this is going to be as big of a problem in the regular season. I think the Lakers are going to be great in the regular season. I can see them being in a top 4 seed. I mean, just off star power alone, they should be. But I think they'll just cruise through the regular season and just, I think they'll easily be able to break 45 wins, no problem. The spacing is more going to be a problem when it comes playoff time. And that's just because teams are obviously going to focus in more on, all the teams' weaknesses. And if the Lakers struggle to shoot the ball, then that's going to be what teams are going to try and make the Lakers do. Now, for this trade to work, Lakers have to go get other shooters because LeBron cannot be the best shooter, the best three-point shooter on this team. I said this in yesterday's video. I said this in a video a few days ago when I was talking about the rumored trades. LeBron can't do it unless LeBron somehow ends up averaging like 37, 38% from three for an entire season on a good amount of attempts like 5 or 6. Then it'll kind of be a different story. But he's never done that, so you cannot expect him to suddenly just turn into that. So I'm not too sure how that spacing's ultimately going to work. I think it's going to backfire a little bit. But again, that'll just depend on who the Lakers end up bringing in after this. The last real big negative about Russ will have to be his decision making, and especially his decision making at the end of in late game. However, I don't know how much this will really play a factor because who do you have right next to Russ? One of the smartest basketball players of all time, if not the smartest, in LeBron James. So I think what you'll probably end up seeing during the regular season is Russ will have the ball in his hands for 46 minutes, and then you'll see LeBron have it in his hands for the last 2 in close games, not in just any regular season. Obviously, it's a blowout. LeBron probably going to play like 20 minutes, and that'll be it. But I don't know how much that would mostly be, an issue that you would probably run into in the playoffs in case Russ's ego kind of starts running a little bit wild and he can't control himself. But I think Russ has too much respect for LeBron, and he understands how great LeBron is, that if LeBron says, give me the ball, I'm doing this now, I think Russ will hand over the ball to LeBron. I don't think there's going to be a problem. I think his problem with everybody else that Russ has always played with, Harden or KD, Russ has always thought he's been on the same level as those guys or even better. So that's kind of when that's why he will sometimes, go back to his old ways because, at the end of games, he'll think, oh, well, I'm just as good as you or not, if not better. So I should have the ball in my hands. But I think with LeBron, you're not going to see that because I think LeBron's just one of those guys who's he's clearly on a tier higher than Westbrook, probably a tier or 2. But in terms of just overall all-time greatness, I think Russ will end up respecting that. So I don't think that's going to be a huge issue, but you could see it. So now for the Washington side, I'm going to try and make this quick because I assume Washington's probably going to go in like a rebuilding kind of phase. I don't think Bradley Beal's going to stay there. I know Beal has said that he wants to stay in Washington, but with Westbrook being gone, I mean, they drafted okay, but I don't know if I don't know if Brad really wants to stay in that situation or if he really just wants to go somewhere else and compete. Personally, I would want to go somewhere where I could at least compete. I'm not saying join any of the other, super top teams in the league, but I'm saying, maybe go to one of those middle tier teams and, make it a contender. So personally, that's what I would want if I was Bradley Beal. But obviously, with Washington getting Kyle Kuzma, Montrez Harrell, and KCP, I think they'll probably end up keeping KCP around just as a veteran shooter, maybe, unless they have an idea to trade him. They could throw him along in anything else that they want to do. I'm not totally sure, but they could keep him. Obviously, he's a good shooter, or they could try and trade him somewhere else because obviously, some of these other contenders could definitely use a guy like KCP who's a reliable three-point shooter. Kyle Kuzma, he's a young player. He'll be definitely looking to prove himself this season. I think there's no reason to think that he couldn't average 20 points or more a game. It's just how much of the offense responsibility is he going to be given? What kind of green light is he going to have? All those things are going to kind of be in question. So does he have the potential? Absolutely. Is he going to? We'll kind of have to wait and see. Montrez Harrell, he's obviously an energy guy. He can score the basketball. Okay, he doesn't have a huge bag, but he could average 15 to 18 points, and he off energy alone, I think he'd just be entertaining to watch. And if you pair him with just some okay point guard, they they could, you know, just make it entertaining. And that's all that Washington really needs to do during a rebuild phase, is just make sure that whatever games fans go to, they're fun to watch, because as long as they're fun, fans ain't going to really care, even if the team sucks. So we'll kind of see what happens with Washington. But again, I think Bradley Beal is going to go. I don't think there's any scenario where he wants to stay. I think it's kind of like a Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is finally understanding that he needs to leave from Portland if he's going to end up, you know, wanting to do anything. Just playing, you know, super winning basketball, he needs to leave. And I think Bradley Beal is just going to do the same. So thanks everybody for watching. That's pretty much all I got for today. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know what you think of Westbrook on the Lakers, and let me know what you guys think about my background, because that's really important. I'm also looking for a new camera because I'm not overly happy with my camera quality. So again, suggestions for that would definitely be appreciated. Other than that, leave a like on the video, and I'll see you all next time.